This Prime Minister isn't worth the cost, the crime, the corruption, or the cover-ups. After hiding the Winnipeg Lab documents from Canadians for over 3 years, we finally know why the Liberals blocked Parliament. We know that Dr. Chu had close and clandestine relationships with entities of the People's Republic of China and collaborated with military scientists. The People's Liberation Army is a known security threat to Canada.
That's right.
So why did the Prime Minister cover up this breach of national security instead of arresting these spies?
Good question. The Honourable Minister of Health.
Well, in answer to the first part of the question, as I suspect they're going to have other questions on the second element. On the first order, it was the first offer was to have all parliamentarians look at the documents through NSICOP. That was an immediate offer. Some opposition members said that wasn't a good answer because they wanted to make sure that if there was a need for redactions to be released, they wanted a process. So I, as House Leader at that point in time, suggested an ad hoc process that would ensure that an independent arbiter would make the decision about releasing those documents. I would remind the member again that it is an independent decision of the Public Health Agency to make redactions. I'm sure he's not suggesting that anything else other than that should happen.
The Honourable Member from Selkirk Interlake
That
Eastman.
House Leader actually sued the Speaker. Dr. Chu maliciously shared technology and materials from the Winnipeg Labs with Major General Chen, one of Beijing's top commanders at the Academy of Military Medical Science. The Academy is described in the CSIS documents as the highest medical research institution of the People's Liberation Army of the PRC and has offensive biological weapons capabilities. And one of its objectives is to transform the results of basic civilian research into military applications and biotechnologies. The Chinese military can now make more biological weapons and potentially use them against Canadians and our allies. Why did the Prime Minister cover up this national security threat?
That's a great question.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
I've already said that the documents first were released and then the additional redactions were actually commenced by us. The second point is when the member says maliciously, we don't know what their intention was. That's the purpose of an RCMP investigation. Secondly, these are individuals that I am deeply concerned about, like the member opposite. And in a process of due process, we understand what they did. With respect to the Chinese government, the military and the government and academia and scientists are all part of their military. That means that any connection that they had whatsoever would have touched that, and so I think it's careful.
The Honourable Member from Selkirk Interlake Eastman.
The Health Minister should actually read the CSIS documents. It actually describes all the breaches that were done and the espionage that was carried out. At the Prime Minister's top public health labs in Canada, Beijing military scientist Dr. Yan was given unfettered access to all the labs and the computer systems at the Winnipeg Labs, which were covertly shared by Dr. Chu with Beijing. Instead of stopping this espionage, the Prime Minister decided to cover it up. Why did the Prime Minister put his admiration for the basic dictatorship of the Communist Party in Beijing ahead of the public safety of Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's important to step back and really consider what the Conservative Party is saying here. At the time in which they were hired, these two Canadian citizens were eminent scientists who were well published and well regarded throughout North America. The fact that they lied and misrepresented themselves, Mr. Speaker, is reprehensible.
Colleagues, I'm going to ask members, please. I'll ask the member from Miramichi Grand Lakes, please, to keep his comments to himself until when he will have the floor at the time that he asks a question. The Honourable Minister of Health has 15 seconds left on the clock.
So I would hope what they're not suggesting is that if they were in power, that they would have interfered politically, been able through clairvoyance to know that these eminent scientists who at this point in time had no reason to believe that they were anything other than Canadian scientists who were doing good research, that they would have interfered politically with clairvoyance and got rid of them before this.